am Liza Hamline. That's Liza. Not Liza, Liza. And I was on the ground in Dallas County on Tuesday when absolute chaos reigned. I'm an organizer and activist and as ChatGPT said, architect of change here in North Texas. So
Good. Well, we needed some change. But walk us through that, because already, and this is what's been frustrating me. Every single time the DNC loses or something happens, they just don't even look at election integrity. Like, we're not even allowed to talk about that.
Yeah.
And I understand that a lot of people weren't able to cast their votes, and then they were separating people out, and so votes weren't counted. And it seems to me that whatever mechanism that was put in place in the primaries is likely to be leveraged against us in the midterms. So it seems to me critical that we should be filing lawsuits, getting to the bottom of this. But the DNC doesn't want to do that. So that's a lot. Go ahead.
So, what we do, right? I'm a lawyer by trade. There are certain reasons you file lawsuits and not file lawsuits. So I'm just going to leave that to the practicing lawyers who are doing that. I'm trying to, kind of use my law license for good, not for evil. Anyway.
I gotcha.
So let me tell you what, kind of what is why we are where we are today. So, and I'm going to go back to, I'm not going to try to go way back because I could go all the way back to Reconstruction, but I think it is very important to understand that after the 2020 census, and remember, right, the 2020 election, this is the last time Donald Trump was on the ballot, and there were a lot, right? We had a global pandemic. There were a lot of problems. Yeah. After the 2020 census in Texas, we did our, decade appropriate redistricting. The whole country did redistricting. And that was the first time in 2021 that the state of Texas was not under pre-clearance for the Voting Rights Act, because that was eviscerated in 2013 with Shelby County versus Holder. What that means is that before the state of Texas and several other southern states who had continued to engage in racial politics, doing things like poll taxes, and that's very important. I want you to start learning that word again. It's a poll tax. Yeah. The Voting Rights Act, right, which was put through Congress by a Texas governor, right, LBJ, who became president. And, so the states used to have to go through pre-clearance to get their maps approved. Yeah. And in 2021 was the first time that the state of Texas did not do that. And so we had a terrible, awful gerrymander. Our House representatives left the state. Right? We were already gerrymandered. That litigation is still ongoing. We have not finished the litigation about the 2021 maps, and yet we have voted on them 3 times. 3 times we voted on them because we had special election. 3 times. And then in 2025, Donald Trump said to the state of Texas, I want 5 more seats. And so we did a mid-decade gerrymandering when nobody asked for it, nobody wanted it. This was after the state legislature had rammed vouchers down our throats, which we also didn't want. And they gerrymandered us, and where the gerrymander happened, focused heavily on 5 seats that are in the Dallas, Houston, and San Antonio areas where you are seeing record suburban growth. Mm-hmm. And for me specifically, I'm going to talk about North Texas. North Texas is where the city of Dallas and the city of Fort Worth are. We are all often called the DFW Metroplex, but it's actually much bigger than that because you have 4 very urban counties: Dallas, Tarrant, where Fort Worth is, Denton, where the University of North Texas is, and Collin County, where you are seeing record growth. That's where the city of Plano and Frisco and McKinney are. And then we have what I call our collar counties to the south, which are Ellis, Johnson, Kaufman, which are nationally some of the fastest growing counties in the country. And they are the fastest growing blue counties in the country. So while in 2024, while the rest of the country was going red, Kaufman, Ellis, and Johnson got bluer. So this is the part of the world, and this is where we were drastically affected by gerrymandering in this 2025, mid-decade gerrymander. So that happened in, let's see, right? And it goes up to the courts, it's overturned, then it's turned 4 days before our filing deadline on December 8th. So on December 4th, our commissioner's court, that is the elected body, that's like our county legislature. It's not actually a court. It's a county. It's like our commissioners are like our county legislators. They're like city council, but on a county level, and they're partisan. So they're Democrats or Republicans, whereas our city council is nonpartisan. They approved the new commissioner's map, like our county map with our precincts. And why that's important is because this mid-decade gerrymandering, the map was drawn by Donald Trump's consultant. He drew the 2021 maps. He drew the Tarrant County, that's next to us where Fort Worth is. They did a mid-decade commissioner redraw map. That's very important because that got approved. And so, right, the legislature knew it's all testing grounds. We're this little incubator here in North Texas. This consultant, Donald Trump's consultant, knows how to draw maps. He does.
Yeah.
He testified in court that he knew how to draw maps. Yet he deliberately put the new congressional lines cut through existing precinct lines. Precincts are the whole county is divided up into little neighborhoods, right? Little neighborhoods. That is called your precinct. But they are governed by federal, state, and local law that it has to be equal, right? My neighbor here and my neighbor across the street, we all have to be voting on the same races in our little precinct. So if you cut the congressional district line through the precinct so that now I'm in congressional district 33 and my neighbor across the street is now in congressional district 24, right? That violates the law. And so our commissioner's court had to redraw all, 800, 700 precincts. I mean, right, we're a huge county. Huge. And so all the precincts were redrawn on December 4th. And the area where I am in the western part of the county that borders the eastern part of Tarrant County is where all of these gerrymandered congressional districts that were targeted. So one of the targeted congressional districts was CD 33, which is currently held by Mark Vesey. He will not have a job after November.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I mean, thank you. I mean, you're wonderful. I appreciate all this information you're giving. And yeah, I mean, the whole reason people have not been paying attention to this. Yeah, the Voting Rights Act has been completely gutted. That's why there's the John Lewis Voting Rights Restoration Act. And again, the Democrats aren't using. This should be a predominant thing we're talking about. They seem lackadaisical to me about pushing through this thing to protect our voting rights. And it's like, this is what's so irritating. It's evidence after evidence after evidence of voting interference, voting disenfranchisement. I interviewed Greg Palast. I don't know if you know who Greg Palast is. Talk to him about this. These are all the tactics they use.
Yep.
And immediately
tactics.
And immediately after these elections, we get the deed saying, well, we have to get behind the guy. Everything's fine. We have to do this. And it's like, and people like me are just like, can we just do something about this voter manipulation, this disenfranchisement? Can we at least, number one, just acknowledge that it's happening, that they're doing it, and then do something, use an effort to do something. And instead they pressure. I feel like I get pressured and targeted for silence, for just saying, gee, maybe we should stand up and count votes, rather than them just recognizing it's their job, to ensure that these elections are fair.
Exactly. No, and I will make sure those votes will get counted. one way or the other. We're going to talk about this. Now, again, lawsuits cost money. And when you are the DNC or the Dallas Democratic Party or the Tarrant, we have been the minority party in Texas for 30 years. We don't, right? And unfortunately, nobody wants to give money to a party that's not doing anything, but that's changing in Texas, right? That is changing in Texas. The Texas Democratic Party is fighting back. And you saw that last summer. You saw that when our Texas House members all led the state and were unified together. And guess what? Chuck Schumer wasn't doing anything. Last spring. But when Texas Democrats fled the state because of our mid-decade redistricting that was being forced upon us, we woke up the nation that said, Texas Democrats fight.
Yes.
Get on board, National Democrats. And you're starting to see that change, right? Right? You're starting to see, but that requires Texas Democrats to be elected. And that's why they did the mid-decade gerrymander, so that Jasmine Crockett was gerrymandered out of her seat. Julie Johnson was gerrymandered out of her seat. Mark Vesey was gerrymandered out of her seat. Al Green was gerrymandered out of his seat. Lloyd Doggett was gerrymandered out of his seat. Our fighting Texas Democrats were gerrymandered out of their seats. And it forced Al Green and Christian Menefee to be in a primary together. It forced Julie Johnson and Colin Allred now to be in a primary together. Which reduces the number of Democrats that we will have, showing National Democrats how to fight. That was by design.
Let me just say, I'm going to applaud you. I love you, for one thing. Thank you for your passion and your energy. And it's making me feel a little bit more relief, because I'm just sitting here thinking, why am I the only one screaming? Love this. I am so happy that you're here making these statements. I want to ask, though, how is it looking like? Because how much gerrymandering can they do? I've been talking with Arturo Dominguez. I'm going to have you meet him, because he's a reporter also in Texas. And it's
no, he's great, right?
Oh, good. Have you talked to him?
Yeah. He knows who I am.
Okay,
I haven't talked to him, but he knows who I am.
Well, I'll get you on a call with him sometime. We'll talk together.
Let's do it.
And he's often said, he's like, look, we've got this Latino vote is not going to go for the Republicans. I don't know, who are all the people running in all these new districts? Do you have a good set of candidates coming through?
No. So what I will say is part of the reason that you saw historic, we are talking across the state, historic turnout. And that's why what happened in Dallas created so much chaos, because you had November voters. So people talk about swing voters or people, I don't know. What I call people are November or presidential voters. Those are your more infrequent voters, right? They're not voting in midterms. They're not voting in local elections. And they certainly aren't voting in a midterm primary election, right? Our normal primary election turnout is like 2%. It was 17% in Dallas County. 17% for the Democrats.
Yeah.
We have 1.4 million registered voters in Dallas County.
Okay.
1.4 million. So that's actually a lot of people showing up at the polls. Lots and lots of people who are not traditional primary voters. And so when people said to me, I have been voting at this polling site for 30 years. Why on earth do I have to go to this elementary school 4 miles away? They were telling the truth, because they have voted in that library for 30 years. But our precincts got redrawn in December. And nobody knows about it. Why? Because our cards were mailed out late.
I heard that it wasn't updated too.
No. And the Secretary of State didn't update the new precincts and then blamed it on Dallas County. It's called massive gaslighting on the federal, state, and local level.
Well, isn't it? It's disenfranchisement, isn't it?
Yes. Because who controls the Secretary of State? The Republicans.
Well, if they're deliberately, allowing misinformation, it's like, I don't know, you're the lawyer, but I mean, maybe that's.
Well, I am the lawyer, but like, right, when the when we were doing this 2025 gerrymandering nonsense, all the Democrats in Texas were going to say, "Oh, the courts are going to save us." The courts, and I kept saying,
yeah.
we don't have a ruling on our 2021 case.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen. And then when the El Paso court said, whoa, Texas, I don't know about this gerrymandering. I think it's bad. And you have a Trump appointed judge saying, yeah, no way. I was like, just wait. And sure enough.
Yep.
On December 4th, Samuel Alito said, not so fast. I like these new maps. I think it's great.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, courts are not going to save us, folks. Courts are not going to save us. Not going to save us. Not in the state of Texas.
Yeah, and I want to ask too, just give us some more details because it's so frustrating. The things I've heard about Dallas where people were going the wrong places, the judge said we give them a couple more hours, and then they were separating people out into lines. So what did you see?
No, so let me tell you what was happening. So, because it's been a whole lot of nonsense. So Dallas County is I guess for the second largest, it's hard because the Fort Worth area is literally the Dallas Fort Worth area is like the fourth largest metropolitan area in the country. Okay. But Houston, I think, is technically bigger, than Dallas County. I think Harris County is bigger, but anyway, that's just because Dallas County didn't gobble up all the cities around them. They let them be their own places. Anyway. And so we had for early voting because the Dallas Republican Party for the first time since 2019 decided they didn't want to hold a joint primary. And the reason they did that is because they first wanted to hand count the ballots like Collin County did. But that was a colossal mess. And the elections department said, okay, well, you're going to have to pay for it because it's a primary and it was going to cost some astronomical amount of money. And then the Republican election judges were going to have to stay all night, right? I mean, who are election judges? Like retired folks? Stay all night and count ballots, right? I mean, hello, hanging chads, Florida, right? I mean,
yeah, they're sitting there like, what do I see?
I can't. What to say? No. I say, I'm sorry, I couldn't have done it, right? And so they refused to work. So they were defeated on that. And so then he, instead of saying, okay, all right, I got it. Like everybody else was doing a joint primary in the state. Jay Nelson, our Republican Secretary of State, was like, do a joint primary. It costs too much money. They decide they want to do a separate primary for early voting and election day. And on election day, they want to do precinct level voting because that's more secure.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so we have so during early voting, we have we had a separate primary, which we haven't done since 2019. And I just said these were new voters, right? These are new voters to the primary. These are voters who have not historically voted in a primary. And if they have voted when we've done a joint election and we've had all county voting. So we have had all county voting during early voting. You can go anywhere in the county and vote. I mean, shoot, our state voter rolls were sent to the federal government. I'm not sure why we can't just vote anywhere in the state. Yeah. And we have voter ID, right? We have the strictest voter ID requirement in the entire country. You have to show up with an ID. So what are they not bringing? Their voter cards, which have their precinct on them.
Okay.
We haven't needed that. People in the last 5 years bring in those cards and they say, why do I even get this? And I say, it's useful. It's to show, it's like your receipt that you're registered. But it does have kind of important information like a precinct, but that hasn't mattered. Yeah. It hasn't mattered for 8 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we have the separate but equal primary, which meant that in a county that has 1.4 million registered voters, that is overwhelmingly Democrat, you had the same number of machines, the same number of workers for the Democratic primary as for the Republican primary. And you had to separate the room because Democrats could only use these machines and Republicans could only use those machines. And when you walked in, you couldn't ask them whether they wanted, which primary they wanted to vote in. You had to just say Republicans over there, Democrats over here. And yet one half of the room was filled and you had lines going out the door and the other side had no voters.
Yeah.
Because during early voting, Democrats were outnumbering the Republicans 3-1. And I had Republicans come into the polling site and turn to me and say, why are we doing this? This looks like segregation. I don't like this. And a number of them took a look at our propositions and said, hell no, I'm getting in this line and I'm voting over here. Because people didn't like being outed in their community. Because I'm sorry, there's this thing, we Democrats can't say anything. We're scared. Well, guess what? We were showing up. We were happy. We were laughing. We're like, look at these things. Right? And this is when, Trump has now started a war that nobody wants.
Yeah.
Bombed a bunch of kids.
Yep. Well, I can see.
You want to go over there?
Yep. And he's rounding up. The immigrants he's rounding up are all Roman Catholic. Everybody who comes up from South America is Roman. This is a war on Christianity we're seeing in the United States. They're sending them to concentration camps. And right
here in North Texas, because I could go on and on. We just defeated, the concentration camp that they wanted to put in Hutchins, which is in South Dallas County. That was 2-3 weeks ago. I mean, y'all, when I talk about, I got no more F's to give.
Yeah.
It has been like drinking from a fire hose.
Yeah. Yeah. And just the abuses, the number of abuses that are going on. People are still with their heads in their sand. But I'm most mad, I think, about instantly after the election, this tidal wave of pressure for us to just be like, well, we got to get behind the candidate. And I keep saying, look, unless you drop James Carville for one thing, I'm not going to do that. But also, we have to talk about making sure everybody's vote is counted. Are there boxes of ballots that just got thrown away by the judges?
No.
Okay.
No. So this is what happened on the ground. So we had the early vote, historic turnout. 70, we on last Friday, the Democratic vote didn't come in. I mean, it was super, super late. We did. And so all of the early vote got released at 7:00 on Tuesday. It all got released and we saw banana numbers. I mean, just banana numbers. Because my site, for example, had almost 1,000 voters on that Friday alone.
Wow.
Which was, just record numbers. So we knew Tuesday was going to be bad because people started hearing about it, right? And when it's generating buzz, people start going, ooh, I want to vote. I want to vote. I want to vote. And everybody's mad because of what's happening federally. And they're like, I want to vote. I want to vote. And so what happened on Tuesday was we ended up with this precinct level voting. And at my precinct, which was one of the largest in the northwest part of the county, this part that I just said got really heavily gerrymandered, where the precincts were all different. I had one Democratic precinct could vote at my polling site, one. The Republican on the other side of the room had 3. The same one as mine, plus 2 more. Okay,
special rules for them. Yeah.
Yep, special rules for them, right? So I started turning away we were probably turning away about 75% of the Democrats.
Okay, because they were in the wrong precinct.
Except for that the technology was saying that they had to come to my site because the Republicans had 3 precincts. So, right? And the elections off, they can say, oh, our tech was great. It doesn't matter. Who do you have in the field? Right? We had so many. First of all, we would have been normally doing joint stuff. We wouldn't have had this many workers. You had a whole bunch of unseasoned workers. You have Republican judges who have never been the actual judge during Election Day because normally the who's in control of the county controls who are the election judges. And so in Dallas County, that's Democrats. So the Democrats, like me, are the seasoned judges, and my Republican counterpart really is like a senior clerk. And we've worked together that way for years. A great relationship. I was really blessed that I had amazing Republicans on the other side who didn't like what was going on and were supporting, right, ensuring all of our voters got to go to the right place.
I'm glad to hear that. I'm really glad to hear that.
No, we have actually, because guess what? We just talk to our neighbors. We actually really like each other.
Yeah. I mean, raping kids isn't a popular policy position,
No, we're actually aligned on all of that.
Yeah, that one is a pretty important one. Yeah.
No, and that's actually why Taylor Remmett won that SD9 race. Because nobody likes raping and killing kids. Nobody.
Well, the government, a lot of people in the government, apparently.
Yeah, if your name is Huffines. Yeah, running for comptroller. Yep, the guy who owns Zorro Ranch, running for our state comptroller in control of all the money. Yeah, you want to, yeah. You want to get behind somebody? Her name is Sarah Eckhart.
Well, I'm glad to mention it. If that person wants to come and talk, I would be happy if you can put me.
Yeah, I'm telling you, these races, like comptroller of Texas, why on earth is that important? Because it controls all the money. And the Republican that they just nominated is Huffines, who owns Zorro Ranch, where all the Epstein bodies are buried.
Yeah.
That's who they elected.
And this is the kind of thing that should be our national news. And again, I mean,
is anybody talking about the Texas comptroller race? No, you're all talking about the Senate race. I have been saying for months, right? Because first it was Colin, and then Tallarico got in, and I kept saying it doesn't. People are like, Liza, who's it going to be? And I was like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, because if we don't support our down ballot candidates in Congressional District 6, Danny Minton, who has been on the ground in the city of Irving, on the ground in Grand Prairie, on the ground in Arlington since last June. Candidates like Amy Martinez-Salas, who is running for State Senate District 22, which includes that same portion of Arlington that just got redistricted, that includes Ellis, right, and Parker, and goes all the way down to, another city that's like ballooning, Waco, where Baylor University is. This I-35 corridor so I-35 comes down from Oklahoma and it splits in Denton, up in Denton County. And it splits and it goes to Fort Worth and it goes to Dallas. And then it comes back down together and it meets in Hillsborough, which is in Hill County, which is right next to Ellis County and Johnson County. And then, boom, you're in the Waco suburbs, right? Because the Waco suburbs now go all the way to Hillsborough. Like, you can leave the suburbs of basically Mansfield in Ellis County. And so Mansfield is like Fort Worth suburbs. And then you're going to be in Waco suburbs within 15 minutes. It's like, there is no delineate, this is not like going, from New York City to Buffalo. It's like, you just never leave. Like, you don't go through swaths of beautiful upstate New York.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, I just want to, what you're saying is so important. And the emphasis on the down ballot races. A friend of mine, he ran for the Parks Board in Minneapolis, and he's been one of the primary guys organizing the fight against the secret police murdering people in the street in Minneapolis. And so let me just say this real quick. It's like my platform here. I wrote this. I started this platform to write about, writing advice. That's what, but it's like, oh gosh, I didn't find out that we were going to have the fascist takeover of the free world. And so it's like, okay, for the time being, it's called I'd rather be writing. I would rather be doing anything but what I'm doing now.
I don't have time to write. Everybody's like, Liza, write about the primary. And I'm like, I was like, I can talk about it because I don't have time to sit down.
I'm that way too.
I do not have time to sit down and actually write. And so thank you for this platform, because I'm telling you what happened in Dallas, this precinct level voting. We are the incubator. This is what will happen in November. When Donald Trump is talking about, I don't want mail-in ballots, I don't want this, he is going to demand precinct level voting. We were the testing ground.
Yeah.
And in giant parts of the country, especially in the West, right, where we have had historical early vote. When I first moved to Texas in 2001, I moved from upstate New York, right? I voted for Hillary Clinton for Senate in 2000, and then we moved to Texas in 2001. And I was shocked to find that we had 3 weeks of early vote.
Yeah.
The state of New York didn't have early vote until 2022 or something. I mean, I was shocked. But that's because we're a huge county, or a huge state, where it takes a long time to get to your voting site. Those rules were put in place by people like LBJ so that we could make sure everyone could vote. And right in the West, right, in Montana, they rely on mail-in ballots.
Yeah.
And so taking away mail-in ballot, which just shocks me, because let me tell you who the Republican electorate was: old white people. Old white, and I'm talking really old, not old like me, old white.
Yeah, and it's been going on in plain sight. And like you said, the down ballot offices, but also these decisions that are made. And then people always call you an alarmist when you say these are going to be the consequences of these decisions. And it's like, now we're seeing it. I mean, it's all come together at one time. I do want to just switch to strategy real quick, because as we go forward, I'm all in on these midterms. If you have candidates, anybody at any level who wants to come on and talk, I'll send you my phone number when we get done. You can text me. If I'm at my phone, we can just jump on and quick, and then I'll send it out to my group. I have other journalists here that I know, they have big followings, and my objective is there's no plan other than to just primal scream until the midterms and then relax depending on what happens, or maybe scream some more depending on what happens. But yeah, we can continue. I want people online all the time emphasizing these messages that the mainstream media is disregarding, particularly like what you just said, the office, what you said, which controls the money. And then, we've got distraction on top of distraction on top of distraction. And you've already just in this half hour provided so much insight into what's going on and given me a lot of relief just knowing that you're ready to fight this battle to the end. So I applaud you for that.
Well, and there are folks like me. I mean, there are folks who have been doing this work. Chris and Mendy Tackett in Fort Worth have been doing this work. Lainey Hawes in Fort Worth have been doing this work. There are a lot of us who have been on the ground, and that's Kendall Scudder, our Texas Democratic Party chairman. And I will tell you, he promised last year that he would fill every single congressional race, every single Texas House race, and every single Texas Senate race. And that happened. The reason that you are seeing record turnout in the primary is because Texas Democrats have somebody to vote for.
Good.
It's not right. And we had primaries on the state level like we've never seen before. That Texas comptroller race was a 3-way race. Of 3 Democrats working really hard. And that is, so when everybody started talking about the drama in the Tallarico Crockett primary, I just kept, right?
Yeah, there's a lot more stories. Yeah.
There's a lot more stories, but the point is that it energized an electorate.
Yes.
It energized Dallas, Fort Worth, Navarro. Yes. Crockett carried Navarro County, which is where Corsica, we're talking a red county.
Nice. Yeah.
Right? By 75%. Their voter turnout in Navarro County went up 155%.
Yes. And this is an issue I have again with the DNC, because in my district here, we've got Emily Berge running against Rebecca Cook. And I interviewed Emily Berge yesterday, and she said the DNC told her they didn't want a primary. This was in our online. And it's just like, the primaries activate the district. You get to go out. You get 2 candidates going around talking to people, telling people where they need to go. So what the hell is with the DNC where they're not emphasize, they want control. And I mean, this is part of what makes it angry. But I also think, I just love talking to you because I'm sitting here being mad about the DNC. And I do have to be mindful. There are wonderful, wonderful, hardworking people like you of integrity. So please let me talk to them and we can spread the word. We can kind of lift up that DNC approval rating because it's in the shithole right now because they're not, from all appearances, they're not doing anything. And the mainstream media isn't giving any kind of visibility to people like you who are out there doing the good.
Right. And so, we as a Texas Democratic Party, right, I've seen, you want to get me really mad, I'll talk about DC consultants. Because DC consultants,
yes, please. Yeah.
They don't know Texas. They look at my city and they're like, oh, it's fine. You don't need to do anything. They'll vote. Right. Oh, really? Guess what happens when you don't talk to people? Yes. They stop voting, or they talk to the people they vote for the people who are talking to them.
That happened in Wisconsin too. They want to anoint the candidates, and they know nothing about our district. And I keep getting this too, because I keep getting pushed aside. As a blue voice in a red county, you better listen to me. But they think they know more than we do. And it's because they know that they'll get money even if they lose. So that's what's making
it exactly. They get money by running crappy candidates who don't do the work, who don't knock on doors, who all they do is raise money. They don't spend it on field. Yes. They don't knock on doors.
Yep.
Right? Don't you DC my Texas?
Yes. Good phrase. And we've been saying, let Wisconsin pick, not Washington. And nobody likes them. See, and that's the unifying message.
No King's protests all over the place. And this is what I say. I fight West Texas billionaires.
Yes.
And I fight Democrats who act like them.
Yes, the dinos. Yeah, and I call them blue MAGA. The blue MAGA we have to get rid of because they just lay down, and we are the ones who have to pay the consequences for their ineptitude. And we're also the ones who are doing the work, and all of our taxpayer dollars get handed out to these billionaires and subsidies and bailouts. And honestly, I keep saying, it's like, look, if you want to appeal to moderate Republicans, run as a Republican. But at the same time, that message of stopping handing the handouts, billionaire welfare, moderate Republicans listen to that message too.
Oh, they do. And they were like, oh, let's go vote in the Democratic primary.
Yes.
Right? They didn't that is why you are seeing city councils and school boards in North Texas have Democratic values candidates, right? Because for 30 years, the Republicans have controlled Texas. Huffines, this Epstein ranch-owning Huffines, ran on financial integrity and corruption. And I'm like, dude, you control the government.
Yeah. Yep. That's the other thing. It's like, the other thing the Republicans say is election fraud. And again, every accusation is a confession. And then the Democrats are like, well, if we talk about election fraud, people won't go out and vote. It's like, that hasn't been the case with the Republicans. That's all they ever talk about. Also, if they're going to sit there and say every election is rigged, let's do some recounts of 2024. They're the one who gave us that argument.
Yeah, no. And so you want to talk about rigging an election? That's what just happened in Dallas County. Yeah. They wanted to make sure the Democrats could not vote. And who are the Democrats in the western part of the county who were most impacted? Black and brown Democrats. Latino and, DESI and AAPI and Muslim Democrats who could not vote because they were in the wrong place.
Yeah. I'll have to have you talk with Natasha Kaye too. She worked on the Harris campaign, and she was just extremely frustrated as a Black woman, the disrespect that she encountered. And we have to clean up our own house. We cannot beat fascism unless we defeat blue MAGA first. And people have been telling me, well, we got to just defeat MAGA. No, we are incapable of defeating them unless we remove the saboteurs from within our own party. But again, you're actually, we could just do Primal Scream for a few minutes if you want to do that. But at the same time, I just really appreciate, because I feel so much better thinking, just this unity. We've got this massive hill to climb. I realize that. But just knowing you're out there with your energy.
Yeah. It's just one precinct, right? And it's calling it out for what it is. And part of what I'm seeing right now is that the Dallas GOP chair is, right? People are calling him out for this obstruction and this chaos. And the Republican voters saw it in real time. And they were pissed off and they were upset right? And they are making their voices known. And so if he tries to do this again, we're going to call it out for what it is, right? But we cannot be caught flat-footed, and we weren't. There were a lot of us who've been talking about this. This chaos was because of Donald Trump's request for 5 more seats. That's what this is about.
Yeah. What's your prognosis for the midterms? Do you think they've overextended themselves?
I think they have, because districts like CD6, Danny Minton's district, CD5, which has a primary runoff, right? CD33, another primary runoff. What runoffs? Every election matters. If you turn out the vote for every election and talk to those voters why every election matters, then they will start voting, and you won't have this November voting electorate that is in the wrong place, that doesn't have their address updated, that doesn't have their ID updated. Every time you vote, you update, you reduce your voter registration so that you're in the right place. So you ensure that your vote counts. Because what happened on Tuesday night was that as soon as we had everybody in line, now keep in mind, at 7 o'clock, when the polls were supposed to close, I had a line out the door. Mm-hmm. And so I got every single one of those folks who could legitimately vote in my precinct.
Yeah.
Voted on the regular, because they were in line in the regular way. The folks who were not in the right place got sent, because we had the court order extending the time, got sent to the elementary school 4 miles away. They then had to vote what's called a provisional ballot. And there is a special mark on the provisional ballot that says court order after 7 o'clock. And so we were actually separating those ballots. Okay. But the problem was, and this is the real disenfranchisement, they were in line at 7 o'clock at my polling site.
Yeah.
But they didn't know they needed to be at the other polling site because the Secretary of State office was wrong, right? Our Dallas website kept crashing. They didn't get their voter card that had their right precinct. Right. And so the disenfranchisement then happened because they were in line and should have been able to vote. Once you're in line, you can vote regular. The line lasts till 11 o'clock.
Okay.
The court order doesn't kick in until you show up at the polling site after 7 o'clock. And so that's what happened. They got out of my line and they showed up at the other polling site. Now, we worked our line really hard, right? I mean, I had my big giant map. We just had people, we just took the big giant map and said, point to where you live. And that's what they did. And then I had a sheet of paper that said, okay, you need to go here. So we had been working that line all day. I just stopped all technology. Once we identify it, right?
Yeah.
And how did we identify it? Because I had a state inspector come to my polling site at like 10 in the morning. And we were talking to him about the problems. And so he called his boss. And they were like, oops. The precincts are all wrong. Oops. We better show, just go to the Dallas Democratic Party or just go to the Dallas election website. Nobody knew, right? I mean, the chair of the Republican Party was like, oh, well, people should know where they're supposed to vote. Excuse me. You gerrymandered our precincts literally 2 months ago.
Yep, it's always our fault.
It's always our
reverse victim and offender every single time.
Yeah. So that's where those votes are. But I will tell you that every single Democratic election judge across the county was working very, very hard to ensure that everybody who could legitimately vote at that precinct got voted, and that the people who needed to go somewhere else were taken out of line as quickly as possible to get to the other site. And what I know just from looking at the data in the sites where I was sending people, their turnout is huge. It was bigger than mine, right? Because I was remember the Republican had 3 precincts. So those other 3 Democratic precincts, I was sending those people somewhere else. They had record numbers. So I know the people that came to my polling site got voted because we got them out of line as fast as we could.
Good. I was going to say, and we've got this oligarch-owned media, and they've bought up all the different things, and all the newspapers are gone. And so it's really critical to continue to have these conversations because the information just can't get out there. And so every little bit that we can do like this, as we get closer and as more things happen, please reach out to me and I'll put you on here and I'll share it as much as I can. And all the people watching, we have to continue to do that. Bring people onto this other form. We need this other form of communication because exactly like you said, and it's going to get worse. I mean, 17% turnout for the primaries, but what's it typically for the general election? And maybe we'll see a bigger number than normal. And so, I mean, you'll have that 17% that went through at one time, but now you're going to see like 2 or 3 times as much who don't know. So we have to get the information out between now and then.
Right. And that's why actually these runoffs, right, having primaries matters because then if you have runoffs, like the voters in CD18 in Houston, we've talked to them so much they don't even, right? They've been voting in that CD18 race like 15 times since December or November, right? But that's every time you are reaching more and more and more and more voters. And once you get people excited, that's what that SD9 race was about, right? We had been talking to those voters since the school board races last year. And by the time they voted for Taylor Remmett in November, they were really excited. And then it went to a runoff and they were ready to vote again. And then they just had to vote for Taylor Remmett again.
And so much of this is, and so much of what people are all so burdened and they feel like we can't win. But so much is just this deceit and this misdirection. And if you just show up and do those, cast those votes, these things happen. They're going to try all this BS. You said you don't have, like in Wisconsin, we do the absentee in person. Do you have a thing like that in Texas or not?
Excuse me?
Yeah, I was just wondering. It was an honest question.
No. You have to vote in person. I mean, we have absentee ballots, but that's only for mail-in ballots can be for if you're over 65 or if you're out of the county and you have to apply for it every year. And now it has to be postmarked, not when you drop it off. But I mean, I'm telling you, like, I'm a bad Democrat. I don't trust the mail-in ballot in Texas. I had multiple people reach out to me whose kids were at college, didn't get their ballots. And I was like, if they can register in their other state, go register there. My kid that's at college at UT in Austin, I made him drive home.
Yeah. But as we do these things and we continue to get that information out and continue to get people to, I mean, our local thing doesn't even announce really when there are elections. And that's another thing. We just have to be more, and all the people, it's word of mouth as much as it is. And wherever you are, all the people watching, whatever state you're in, tell everybody there's an election that day and get people to go there.
And it's getting people excited about what that election is. So you talked about the park board. What does the park board actually do?
Well, he controls like a $17 million budget, and that's the other thing we always forget.
It's kind of important to have somebody qualified and somebody we can all get behind. And guess what? That's a nonpartisan race. I bet you and your MAGA neighbor agree on everything about the park board. So make a coalition.
Yes. And the other thing about that is, too, we've all been browbeaten into thinking the government, it's like, well, we can't rely on that. But there's these corrupt people in there in so many positions, and they take that budget and they send it all to their, buddies or whatever, and we never get any benefit of it. And if we can just get a couple honest, rational people in these positions, all of a sudden we have the money to have lawsuits like you were talking about. We can fund those things. And the Democrats at some point, I mean, this morning I was scrolling through social media and it's like, what things to cut when you're broke and what things you can live without. And then it's like, please send me money. I'm your Democratic. It's like, I don't have any money because you guys don't. It's like everything is because it's economic terrorism.
No, and that's the thing. Stop putting money in these swing state winnable. They are going to have plenty of money. Put money into local races that are going to raise margins. We will not flip this state. The Senate race does not matter. Tallarico has so much money, it does not matter. He cannot, I don't care how much money he has, he cannot turn out the vote in all 254 counties. You have to have local candidates who have the money to pay for signs, to pay for people like me to organize.
If he's got so much money, how come he can't help the people down the ballot? I mean, he believes in Jesus, right? I mean, shouldn't he be using that to help his neighbor? Isn't that Tallarico what he ran on?
And I'm going to be cautiously optimistic, but I can tell you one thing that DC consultants don't like to do is actually spend money on field work in Texas. They will put big, flashy, splashy ads on TV.
Yeah.
It does not matter. Your electorate is under 65. They do not watch TV.
Yeah. But I mean, this is another place where we can put some pressure on people. I mean, let's put some pressure on Tallarico to do that and to be part of this movement and to do the real things and forget about DC, because DC is not helping us. They're not doing a damn thing. They're the reason why the popularity, they're actively hurting us in every state and at every level of government. And so our local representatives, the good fundraisers, got to quit dumping it, kissing the ring in DC and making sure, because in Wisconsin, we have districts where Republicans are running unopposed in the state. And it's like, if there's money in this state, we should be founding and we should use that money. There's Natasha Kaye. She just showed up. So good to see her. But yeah, it's like, and if people have money, if Tallarico has the money, he can pay for the lawsuits to make sure that the primaries were fair and to then make sure that the midterms are fair, because it's in his interest now, is it not? If he is going to be in those midterms, if he has the most money, he can fund these things. He's the good Christian, right?
Well, but that's the point, right? We have to, it's going to take talking to candidates, right? And highlighting candidates in races. Like I said, the comptroller race, right? Like Danny Minton and Amy Martinez Salas, who are going to juice up the turnout, right? I guarantee you, we are going to flip 2 countywide seats in Ellis County, because we have 2 amazing local candidates running for JP and running for commissioner, right? And the commission that they were both unopposed in the primary, and that commissioner race got the most votes out of any Democrat in Ellis County. That was a very down ballot race.
Yes.
Right? But it's that if Ellis County can juice up, I mean, Ellis County, frankly, might turn blue this year. I'm like, don't, people who tell me Ellis County is not going to turn blue, I was like, challenge accepted. I'll go knock on those doors.
But please bring them on. I mean, let's organize and cooperate. And like, too, I mean, we'll talk about it. I'll share the interview with my group. You share it with your group. And we'll just get more visibility to this, just to educate people as we continue. Because as long as we're sitting here screaming into the void, we might as well make videos and maybe rile up a few more people, so that then people will
to understand what's coming, right? Yes. Go file to be a precinct chair. Yeah. You have a Democratic Party in your state. Find out who your precinct chair is. If there's not one, sign up. A precinct chair means you organize your community to get out the vote for Democrats. If you are in a blue state, do it anyway.
Yeah.
Do it anyway.
I'll interview those guys.
How do you think Bandani got elected? Precinct level voting. Precinct work, not voting. Precinct work.
You're giving me a lot of information I just didn't know, and more people have to know this. But I'll do that too. I'll call up the people here. We call up the people there. We can get, I mean, some of it's donations, but a lot of it, this messaging just has to happen, because the mainstream media isn't doing it. The DNC sure as hell isn't doing it. All they ever do is ask for donations, but they could be, I mean, then those texts, they could be giving us strategies, right? How much more does it cost to send a text to just say, hey, look, please go help your precinct chair. Get people excited. Go do this. They're not doing any of it. We can do all this stuff. But yeah, we just got to help each other. But yeah, please. And it's easy. Anytime it can be done on your phone at your convenience. Like I said, I'll send you my text, or I'll send you my number. It's like, hey, I'm with so-and-so. We'll jump on and talk real quick. Then send the interview out to people we know. And maybe it'll be donations, but it's just the knowledge. The knowledge is really important too.
Well, and it's the knowledge, and it's getting, right? I mean, people like Beto O'Rourke, who is continuing to be on the ground organizing people, right? I mean, there are people here who are doing the work. It's just, this is a big state. But I want y'all to remember, Texas has 40 electoral votes.
Yes.
40. And in 2030, we're probably going to get 2 more. And so if you want those electoral votes, you have to start investing now.
Yes.
It's just, right? It's not going to just flip on its own. People act like, oh, it's suddenly going to become a Democratic state. No, not if you don't work it.
That freaking wishful thinking, too. It's like, whoa, we have the primary. It's like, got it today. What can we do today? What can we do today? Because everybody wants to do something. That's the other thing. More than anything else, I get people asking me, what can we do? And these things that you've said are so good, like calling up your precinct chair and finding the downvoted people. But even like Natasha said in the chat, just share these interviews, too. Talk to people, sit down with people and make them watch this with you and take notes and then send me summaries and then I can put it into there's so many things that we can do, like your takeaways, because I miss things because I'm frantic. I just spend all my time talking like this and it's like my brain goes left and right all the time. You've been so wonderful, but we are closing in on the time. I could keep you all day because I get all excited about this.
Well, I hope this will be the beginning of a very wonderful friendship.
I think so too. And I know a lot of people that are going to want to talk to you, but the more we can just think about applicable strategies, things people can do, everybody helps in their own way. You don't have to leave the house. You don't have to knock on doors. A lot of it can be done behind the keyboard, on the phone, things like that. Oh, it's wonderful to know this. I'm glad you're out there. I just kind of saw you. I saw one of your posts, and I'm just like, and then I had to ask your opinion on a couple of things. I'm like, okay, we're on the same team.
Yeah.
You know how it is. Oh, that's been great. So one last time, it's Liza. Your last name is Hammond?
Liza Hamline on the Bluebonnet Highway is my Substack. And you can find me on social media at Liza Hamline on all social media. And we're just, we're organizing one precinct at a time down here in North Texas.
You're a fighter. We need fighters. Holy cow, we need fighters. So yeah, I appreciate it so much. Thanks for the boost in emotion. And I'm so glad to have met you. Yeah, I'll be talking to you again soon. I got people for you to meet. So going to go. I think I'm going to go and just kind of, like I said, I'm going to go to the woods and scream. My poor dog has to leave the room sometimes. He doesn't like
Yeah, well, my poor dog is like, hello, where's my walk?
Oh, yeah, gotcha. All right. On that note, great. Thanks to everybody in the chat.
Thank you so much.
Lisa.
Thanks, everybody.
Wonderful. Thank you. Bye-bye.